In the remote Uintah Basin of Utah, miles from the nearest highway and surrounded by wide stretches of desert, lies a property that has terrified researchers, shaken government investigators, and baffled scientists for nearly half a century. Locals refuse to go near it after sunset, and neighboring tribes have avoided the region for generations. They call it the Path of the Skinwalker, a place where the veil between worlds thins and the impossible becomes routine. Most Americans didn't know the name Skinwalker Ranch until recent years, but for those who lived there, the horror started long before the world caught up. The most documented wave of activity began in 1994, when Terry and Gwen Sherman purchased the ranch, hoping for a peaceful life, raising their cattle. But the strangeness started before they even moved in. Every door in the house had deadbolts, inside and outside. Chains were bolted to the floors as if something had needed restraint. Within days, the Shermans were stalked by a massive wolf, far larger than any natural species, yet strangely calm, almost intelligent. It approached Terry, stared at him, then grabbed a calf through the bars of a corral with jaws powerful enough to drag it effortlessly. Terry shot the animal multiple times with a rifle at point-blank range. The creature walked away unharmed. When he followed the tracks, they simply ended mid-stride in the soft mud. The experiences escalated. Bright orbs appeared almost nightly, floating above fields, weaving between trees, changing colors as if communicating. One blue orb, about the size of a baseball, moved silently through Terry's pasture. His large, aggressive dogs chased it. Moments later, the Shermans heard agonized yelps, followed by silence. They found nothing but 3 piles of ash, no bones, no blood, as if something had incinerated the animals instantly. Gwen began seeing shadowy figures looking through windows. Doors opened themselves. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway at night. The family started sleeping with lights on. In 1996, desperate, the Shermans sold the ranch to a billionaire quietly funding paranormal research, Robert Bigelow. Bigelow sent a team of scientists, ex-military specialists, and physicists under a classified program later revealed as AAWSAP, a Pentagon-funded investigation. Their goal: determine whether Skinwalker Ranch posed a national security threat. What they found defied every scientific rule they knew. Instruments malfunctioned only inside specific hotspots. Magnetometers spiked violently. Unseen forces shredded livestock with surgical precision, leaving no tracks. Cameras mounted on tall poles were ripped out by something strong. Yet the camera that should have filmed the destruction was untouched, its wires neatly removed. As one researcher said, it was as if the phenomenon knew what we were doing and stayed one step ahead. The team often observed glowing portals appearing over the ranch, oval shapes suspended in midair. Through night vision goggles, they sometimes saw humanoid shapes climbing through these openings. One scientist reported seeing a tall, dark creature crawling out of a portal before sprinting off into the darkness at unnatural speed. Thermal cameras captured heat signatures of large animals stalking researchers, yet nothing was visible to the naked eye. A biochemist on the team described the ranch as a living intelligence, something adaptive, responsive, and aware of being watched. Even more disturbing were the effects on living humans. One investigator noticed a burning sensation on his scalp after standing near the corral where the Shermans had lost cattle. Minutes later, he collapsed. At the hospital, scans revealed deep tissue inflammation in his brain, similar to radiation exposure. Another researcher experienced a metallic taste followed by days of nausea after walking through a cold spot that hadn't been there moments before. Devices placed in these hotspots occasionally vanished and reappeared in impossible locations, inside locked trailers or hundreds of meters away. It was as if the phenomenon rearranged matter at will. In 2016, ownership changed hands again, this time to Brandon Fugel, who brought in a new team led by aerospace engineer Dr. Travis Taylor. Taylor and his team measured unnatural electromagnetic spikes above the ranch, sometimes strong enough to interfere with aircraft instruments. Drones malfunctioned mid-flight. Rockets launched for atmospheric testing bent dramatically, as if pushed by unseen forces. While filming, camera operators saw a shimmering distortion, like a heat mirage, hovering above the triangle, an area believed to contain an underground structure. When they scanned the ground with LiDAR, the readings returned something shocking: a large, solid geometric object buried beneath the property. Tribal elders from the nearby Navajo Nation have long believed the land is cursed, not by ghosts, but by skinwalkers, shape-shifting entities born of dark rituals. They warn that these beings imitate humans, lure them, and walk between worlds. Some researchers dismiss this as folklore. Others believe the legend may be a cultural interpretation of interdimensional phenomena, beings or forms of energy able to shift into our reality through natural portals. The orbs, the creatures, the distortions in space and time, they might all be different expressions of the same intelligence. Today, Skinwalker Ranch remains one of the most heavily studied paranormal locations on Earth. And despite the scientific equipment, the military involvement, the millions in research funding, and decades of investigation, one truth remains. Nothing at the ranch behaves predictably. Lights appear and vanish. Creatures leave no tracks. Machines fail. Shadows watch. And those who step onto the property feel a presence. Something ancient. Something aware. Something that chooses when to reveal itself. The Uintah Basin holds many secrets, but Skinwalker Ranch may be the darkest of them all. Whatever intelligence controls the land is still active, still observant, and still deciding who gets too close.